this out. Take it out.
Yes, sir.
Now.
190,000. That is how many women and girls are locked inside American jails and prisons on any given day. The United States incarcerates more women than any other nation on Earth, and the number has exploded by nearly 800% since 1980. But here is the part that most people never think about. These women are locked inside a system that was designed from the ground up for men. The cells, the rules, the food, the medical care, every single aspect of American incarceration was built around male bodies and male behavior. Women were an afterthought. And when you are an afterthought in a system this brutal, the consequences go far beyond what most people can imagine. Picture a facility like FMC Carswell in Fort Worth, Texas. It is the only federal medical prison for women in the entire United States. Over 1,600 women are confined there, many with serious medical and mental health conditions, in a facility originally designed as an Air Force hospital. Among incarcerated women, Carswell has earned a chilling nickname. They call it Killswell. Between 2012 and 2022, more staff members were convicted of sexually abusing inmates at Carswell than at any other women's prison in the federal system. Women sent there for medical care have described a facility where the treatment itself can feel like punishment. That is the reality at the top of the system. And at the bottom, in overcrowded state prisons and county jails across the country, conditions can be even worse. If you have ever wondered what daily life truly looks like for women behind bars, drop a comment below and tell us what you think. Because what we are about to walk through will change how you see the American prison system forever. Let's start where every day starts and ends. The cell. In most state prisons, women are housed in cells originally sized for men. The standard dimensions are roughly 6 feet by 8 feet, 48 square feet, smaller than a parking space. In many facilities, 2 women share that space, each assigned a steel bunk with a mattress roughly 3 inches thick. Between the bed, the stainless steel toilet, and the small sink, there is barely room to stand side by side. Storage is a single metal locker roughly the size of a kitchen cabinet. Everything you own for the duration of your sentence, which could be 5 years, 10 years, or 25 years, fits in that box, or it does not come with you. But the real challenge of sleeping in a women's facility is not the physical space. It is the noise and the emotional weight of the environment. Women's prisons report higher rates of mental illness than men's facilities. Over 60% of women in state prisons have a history of mental health problems. That means on any given night in a housing unit of 80 to 100 women, dozens may be struggling with depression, anxiety, PTSD, or untreated trauma. The sound of someone crying carries through a cell block in a way you never forget. Former inmates describe nights when multiple women are sobbing at the same time, the sound echoing off concrete and steel. And all you can do is pull your thin blanket over your head and try to shut it out. In overcrowded facilities, conditions deteriorate fast. At one Louisiana parish jail, women were sleeping on the floor and under other people's beds because there was simply no more room. In California during the overcrowding crisis, women were housed in converted gymnasiums where 100 inmates shared one open room with no privacy. Lights in most facilities stay on around the clock, dimmed but never fully off, so guards can perform hourly counts. Some facilities conduct middle-of-the-night emergency counts at 3 or 4 in the morning, forcing every woman to stand beside her bunk until her name is cleared. You learn to sleep with light in your face. You learn to sleep through the sound of steel doors. You learn to sleep knowing the woman on the bunk above you is a stranger whose history you may never know. Hygiene is the first daily battle. Showers are communal and timed. In most facilities, women get a few minutes of water, a few times per week, in open stalls shared with dozens of other women. Hot water is not guaranteed. Flip-flops are essential because skin infections spread fast in shared wet spaces. Privacy is non-existent. Guards can and do walk through shower areas during use. For women with histories of sexual trauma, and that includes the majority of the incarcerated female population, the exposure is not just uncomfortable, it is re-traumatizing. There is no accommodation for this. There is no alternative. You shower when and how the facility tells you, or you do not shower at all. Now imagine doing all of that while pregnant. Nearly 4% of women entering American prisons are pregnant at the time of incarceration. That means roughly 2,000 babies are born to incarcerated women every year in this country. Until the First Step Act was signed into law in 2018, there was no federal ban on shackling pregnant women during childbirth. Think about that. Women in labor, in active contractions, were being handcuffed and leg shackled during transport to the hospital, and sometimes during delivery itself. Even now, the federal ban only covers federal prisons. 9 states still technically allow the shackling of women during labor and delivery. Medical organizations, including the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, have condemned the practice as medically hazardous and dehumanizing. There is not a single documented case of an incarcerated woman attempting to escape during childbirth. But the chain stayed on for decades because the system was built for men, and nobody thought to ask whether the same rules made sense for a woman trying to deliver a baby. After the birth, most women are separated from their newborns within 24 to 48 hours. Fewer than a dozen states have prison nursery programs. For the vast majority of incarcerated mothers, those first moments with their child are the only ones they will have for years. The baby goes to a family member, if one is available, or into foster care. If the sentence is long enough, parental rights can be terminated in as little as 15 months. A woman can enter prison pregnant and leave as a legal stranger to her own child. 58% of women in state prisons are mothers. Let that number sit for a moment. More than half of the women in the system have children on the outside who are growing up without them. And because there are far fewer women's prisons than men's facilities, incarcerated mothers are typically housed an average of 160 miles from their children. Visits are rare, expensive, and emotionally devastating. The visiting rooms are designed for security, not for families. A child might see her mother behind glass, or be allowed one brief hug at the beginning and end of a visit, surrounded by guards in an institutional room that smells like disinfectant. Many children stop visiting entirely. Now let's talk about food, and more importantly, about what food means in a women's facility. The meals are largely the same as what men receive, portions calculated around the same calorie counts, roughly 2,400 to 2,800 calories per day. Breakfast might be powdered scrambled eggs, grits, 2 slices of white bread, and a carton of milk. Lunch is often a sandwich, a piece of fruit if the facility is well supplied, and a flavored drink. Dinner is the main meal, a protein like chicken patties or fish sticks, a starch, a canned vegetable, and sometimes a dessert. But the real story of food in a women's prison is not what arrives on the tray. It is what is missing from it, and the lengths women go to fill the gap. Just like in men's facilities, commissary is a lifeline. Ramen noodles, peanut butter, instant coffee, and tuna pouches are the staples of the internal economy. Women with money on their books can supplement their diets and trade for services. Women without family support go hungry. Incarcerated women are significantly less likely to receive financial support from the outside. The visiting day lines at women's prisons are shorter than at men's facilities. Commissary accounts are thinner. Many of these women were already living in poverty before incarceration, with more than half reporting personal income below $600 in the month before their arrest. Inside, prison jobs pay as little as 10 to 30 cents per hour. A full month of work might not cover a single week of commissary basics. In surveys, The majority of incarcerated women report not getting enough food to feel full between meals. The institutional response to hunger is carbohydrates, rice, bread, pasta, more bread. Menus contain roughly twice the recommended amount of starchy fillers and half the recommended amount of fruits and vegetables. The long-term result is a population plagued by diet-related chronic diseases, including diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease, that will follow these women long after they leave prison. But there is a dimension to food in women's prisons that barely exists in men's facilities. Food becomes an emotional anchor. Former inmates describe cooking together from commissary items, ramen-based recipes shared across bunks, as one of the few acts of community and creativity available to them. Birthdays are marked by whatever combination of snack cakes, peanut butter, and crushed cookies can be assembled into something resembling a celebration. A woman who receives a commissary package from a family member might share a portion with her closest friends on the unit, an act of generosity that strengthens bonds in a place where friendship can mean the difference between surviving and breaking down. Now let's talk about the aspect of women's incarceration that the system has ignored the longest, and that causes some of the deepest daily humiliation: menstrual hygiene. As recently as 2017, federal prisons did not guarantee free menstrual products for incarcerated women. 38 states still have no laws requiring the distribution of menstrual products to inmates. In many facilities, pads and tampons have to be purchased from the commissary. For women with no money, the alternative is toilet paper, which is itself rationed. Women describe stuffing wads of toilet paper into their underwear and praying they do not bleed through their white prison jumpsuits, because a visible bloodstain becomes an occasion for humiliation by guards and other inmates alike. The products that are provided are often the cheapest available. Pads so thin they barely function, without adhesive to keep them in place. Some women have reported that guards use menstrual products as leverage, granting or withholding them to control behavior. One formerly incarcerated woman described how the experience became so unbearable that some women opted for birth control not to prevent pregnancy, but to eliminate their periods entirely. Strip searches during menstruation add another layer. In some facilities, women who are menstruating and subjected to routine searches are ordered to remove tampons in front of officers. There is no medical reason for this. There is no security justification that could not be addressed another way. It exists because the system was not designed with women's bodies in mind, and nobody in power thought to question it until women started speaking out. So how do women survive years and sometimes decades inside this system? They build what the institution refuses to give them. They build family. Women's prisons have a well-documented social structure that differs fundamentally from men's facilities. While men's prisons tend to organize around racial and gang lines, women's facilities develop what researchers call pseudo-families, chosen family structures where inmates take on roles like mother, sister, aunt, and daughter. These relationships are not performative. They are survival systems. An older inmate who takes a younger woman under her wing teaches her how to navigate the politics of the yard, which guards to avoid, how to file a grievance, how to survive solitary without losing her mind. Women braid each other's hair. They share food. They hold each other when the grief of missing children becomes too heavy to carry alone. These bonds often persist for decades, extending well beyond release. Education and creative expression also become lifelines. Women's facilities report higher participation rates in GED programs, college courses, and vocational training than men's prisons. Some facilities offer parenting classes, trauma recovery programs, and substance abuse treatment. But access varies wildly by state and by facility. In some prisons, the waiting list for a single counseling appointment can stretch for months. In others, programs have been cut entirely due to budget constraints. Many women turn to journals, poetry, and letter writing as a way to process experiences that the system offers no other outlet for. Exercise takes on a different character in women's facilities too. Without the aggressive weight room culture of men's prisons, women often organize walking groups around the yard, yoga sessions in the common area, or dance routines in the day room. These activities serve double duty. They maintain physical health and they create social bonds. A woman who exercises with a group every morning has a reason to get out of bed, a routine to hold on to, and a circle of people who will notice if she does not show up. The psychological toll accumulates invisibly. Over 80% of incarcerated women have histories of physical or sexual abuse before entering prison. Many are incarcerated for non-violent offenses connected to poverty, addiction, or involvement with an abusive partner. Inside, they face a system where sexual violence by staff is a documented, systemic problem. A federal report found that inmate-on-inmate sexual victimization rates are 4 times higher in women's facilities than in men's. Women who report abuse by guards are frequently placed in solitary confinement, officially for their own protection, but experienced as punishment for speaking up. The result is a population of women who entered the system already carrying trauma and who exited carrying more. And when they do get out, the challenges multiply. Formerly incarcerated women experience some of the highest rates of homelessness, unemployment, and food insecurity of any population in the country. Most were the primary caregivers of their children before incarceration. Rebuilding those relationships after years of separation, after children have grown, after custody has been transferred, after parental rights may have been terminated, is a process that breaks many women even after the cell door opens. Housing applications ask about criminal history. Job applications ask about criminal history. Custody hearings weigh criminal history. The sentence that the judge handed down was supposed to end on a specific date, but for women leaving the system, the punishment extends indefinitely into every corner of their lives. Consider this. Children of incarcerated mothers are more likely to end up incarcerated themselves than children of incarcerated fathers. The cycle does not start or end at the prison gate. It radiates outward through generations, through foster care placements, through disrupted schooling, through the quiet devastation of a child who learned to stop asking when mom is coming home. Every policy choice inside a women's prison, from the quality of the food to the availability of menstrual products to the distance between the facility and the families it separates, has consequences that extend decades into the future. The United States locks up more women than Russia, China, and India combined. Most of them are mothers. Most are incarcerated for non-violent offenses. Most carry histories of trauma that the system will not treat and may actively worsen. And most will eventually return to communities that are not prepared to support them. The way women eat, sleep, and survive in America's toughest prisons is not a footnote to the larger story of mass incarceration. It is its own crisis, hiding in plain sight, inside a system that still treats women as an afterthought in a machine built for men. The next time someone mentions prisons in this country, remember that behind those walls there are mothers who have not held their children in years. There are women sleeping on floors. There are women bleeding through their uniforms because no one thought to budget for a box of pads. And every one of them will eventually come home to a world that has already decided they do not deserve a second chance. If this changed the way you think about women behind bars, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. We are covering more stories the system does not want you to see. Tell us in the comments what surprised you the most.